Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, please do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a travesty of riches, an absolute lush, lavish, over-the-top rendition of Geneva's finest finish in a sports watch package that compels. Second-generation Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph, reference 49150. This is the watch that put the Overseas on the map. Launched in 2004, the second-generation Overseas was bigger, bolder, more finely detailed at close range, and more impressive, stanced, and imposing at long range. In other words, it's the best of both worlds. Big and bold without losing any of the lush detailing and craft love of a traditional Vacheron Constantin dress watch. Now, the love is lush and evident throughout. As you can see, the watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist is beautifully finished on every facet. The timepiece is large but not overbearing, as it measures 50.8 millimeters lug to lug, but the way the case curves down and around the wrist means it drapes itself over the edge of a borderline wrist. If you're just at the lower limit of about 14.5 centimeters to wear this watch, rest assured it's going to wear well. The watch is not thick, only 12.6 millimeters thick and 42 millimeters in diameter. It's a broad, flat, and elegant cushion style case that draws on the best of the integrated case lug bracelet design heritage of the 1977 Vacheron 222 sports watch. The other feature that I love for a small wrist is that the second generation watch has no constraint in the movement of the bracelet. Unlike the third generation, it pulls straight down around the wrist. The bracelet is fixed to the case using screws, so it's nice and secure, no spring bars here. And you can see that the Maltese cross motif was added to the center link profile for the second generation watch. It's both handsome and fine, as the detailing in between the links features a razor sharp cleft down the center as well as mirror polishing, and you'll only really see it while rolling the watch through the light. The attention to detail is outstanding. There is a transitional bevel on the flanks that aligns perfectly with that along the lug hoods and the mid case, and then you can see there's a handsome satin perfectly aligned from link to link with every individual link removable by screw. You can see that's on both sides, so you're going to get a perfect sized fit with this watch by design. Gaps on the underside, you can see the channeling is rounded to prevent pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat. Plenty of daylight showing through without any additional play as a result. Unlike a Royal Oak chronograph, you don't have the problem whereby one side of the clasp can fall down on the other if it's closed out of sequence. One side of this clasp can't scratch the other. It's nicely made. It features the ubiquitous Maltese cross, and note, so too do the chronograph clasp release pushers, the chrono featuring a twin trigger clasp and each one featuring a little bit of a kink, a reference to the Maltese cross, which again in logo form is found on the inside. All of high polish. It's impressive to see full polish on a component that'll generally never see the light of day. The case is not as complex as a Nautilus or a Royal Oak, but it is beautifully made, and I will say it is more complex and more finely finished than an Aquanaut. You can see that the lugs themselves are a modular addition to the end of the case, and the case is mostly sheer and polished in flank, but it also has some wonderful details, such as the vertical satin finish within the recesses of the bezel, contrasting with the polish and the Maltese cross outcroppings of the top of the bezel. Unlike the third generation watch, there's no plinth underneath the bezel, so it sits flush on the satin finish hoods of the case, and I actually prefer that look to the later plinth mounted generation 3 bezel. Jumping into the dial, you can see that it's deep and richly detailed, as you have a rayhaut or flange outboard that unites the bezel with the dial base. There's a slash cut pattern across the dial base that, yes, references the company logo, but also matches that on the crown and screw down pusher shoulders. The crown itself featuring that ubiquitous logo, all of high polish. Jumping back to the dial, you can see applied rose gold hour indices, applied rose gold Vacheron logo, rose gold hands, and then polished rose gold chapter rings for the chronograph registers. Black hands, as you can see, for the chrono hours and chrono minutes. You'll also appreciate the fact that there's a little bit of a calculated asymmetry. This is how you can easily tell it apart from the first generation chrono at a glance. The minute register is larger to make that salient counter more visible. There is a double-digit date with faceted stepped-down apertures and a quick set system. The hand for the seconds, like the hours and minutes, blackened for contrast. Underneath the case back, a lot going on. First, the case back itself Can we get closer? We can. Can we get some more light? We can. You can see the image of the Italian naval training vessel, Amerigo Vespucci, and several different finishes. The relieved vessel and its rig of high polish, the base underneath, frosted and blasted. You can see there's a radial grain across the inner chaptering of the caseback, and then outboard there's a circular concentric brushing. Beautifully executed underneath, a soft iron cage that encompasses and encloses the entire movement, lending it 25,000 ampere per meter anti-magnetism. The ISO for an anti-magnetic watch, remember, is only 4,800 amperes per meter. 150 meters water resistant, more water resistant than any Royal Oak Offshore except the diver, and more water resistant than any Aquanaut or Nautilus, period. A true swimmable watch. Underneath, Vacheron Constantin caliber 1137. It's a Patek Piguet 1185 high horology, hand finished, 5-position adjusted automatic. Unidirectional winding for efficiency, 21.6 beat rate, 37 joules, 40-hour power reserve. It features a quick set for the double-digit date, which is Vacheron's own complication edition. And then it also features a vertical clutch column wheel system, so you have the crispness of a column wheel, and you feel that and you hear it, and you have the smoothness of a vertical clutch, so you have the ability to start the chronograph seconds hand without any jump or stagger. You also have the ability to leave the chronograph running full time, so if you prefer to have center seconds rather than reading off a small second subdial, you can just leave that chrono running. The vertical clutch means there's no additional wear and tear. Now, while the watch does not feature a hacking seconds function, you can cheat a little bit by resetting the chronograph, setting your watch to the nearest minute against a reference time, and when the seconds hand of the reference time crosses 60, you just start the chrono, and now you've effectively synchronized your seconds hand by using the chrono hand as your seconds. A watch that puts it all together, beautiful on the inside, beautiful on the outside, and I can tell you, in my hand, so physically massive, I would not bet money on this weighing less or having less mass than the Audemars Piguet brick. This thing is that hefty and impressive on the wrist. See it and be impressed on the watch box. Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chrono, red by day, green by night.